your urban lifestyle station.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Very, very beautiful Tuesday morning, the 4th day in the month of July 2023. And yes, it is newspaper review o'clock. I am Sarah Owusanta and I'm delighted to be here this morning. But I wouldn't be handling the show alone today. I've got someone very intellectual here with me in the studio. Good morning, Dami.
Good morning, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
I have to add, right? You look beautiful this morning.
Thank you. I'm flattered. Oh my day.
I would not forgive myself if I came on the show and compliment your look this morning.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. How was your night, dude?
Well, I had a pretty interesting night, if I might say that. I'll leave the details for later. Yeah.
I want to know the details later, but first off, we have to give details of what is happening on the dailies. As you know, on the newspaper review, we review papers from the review headlines from the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard, as well as the Daily Trust newspaper, and then we have a conversation with our guest who takes a look at some of these headlines with us this morning, and then the phone lines will be opened where you can call us and send us messages. And Dami said I look very beautiful this morning, so I'm sure you want to see me this morning. You can go straight to our YouTube page. We're streaming live on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM and on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM.
All right, we're going to break. When we come back, we'll take the stories making the headlines across Nigerian dailies this morning.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. It is the newspaper review on High Impact 102.1 FM, and I still have Dami here with me, and we'll be reviewing the papers together. Yeah. There was a conversation sometime last 2 weeks where there was the president fired, in quotes, all the service chiefs, and replaced them. And there was an order, there was a standing order that they have to, retire and vacate office latest Monday, the 3rd of July, which was yesterday. And the Punch newspaper this morning has a headline that says the retired general sets agenda as Tinubu meets service chiefs. And the writers to the story says criminal activities going down. Tinubu picked best hands. That statement is credited to Ribadu. And retired generals asked service chiefs to cooperate, warn against interference. That's the writer to the story. Get details on page 2. But hey, Dami, let me ask you, when you got that update about the president, firing the service chiefs and appointing new service chiefs, IGP, and other personnel across different levels already. How did you react? Did you think that this was going to be? Did you expect this? Did you see this coming?
I think it's popular with military culture. Military is an organization that respects hierarchy, and when of course quite a number of the service chiefs that were appointed at this point in time or lower in rank to the already the outgone service chiefs in this case. So it's normal. There'll be a clash of of orders, or the military thrives on order and an hierarchy. Respect your high ranking officer as the watchword in the military. And of course this had to happen. They had to retire for these new guys to actually take full authority of the post they've been assigned to. On appointments, really, any government will appoint anybody that they feel they can work with. They can work. And if the president feels that on the advice of probably the Ribadu, that's the security advisor,
national security advisor.
This are guys that will be able to get us the job done. I think let's wait and see. Only time will tell.
Fingers crossed, but expectations are high.
Very.
People really want to see what will come out of this. But let's move away from that story. Still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, there's a pictorial representation of the President Tinubu after a meeting with the security chiefs in Abuja on Monday. You can see that on the front page. Just above that, Central Bank of Nigeria intervenes as more POS operators implement rate hike. We're having this conversation again. We know that
I thought we've gone past.
Sincerely,
this.
I thought we were gone past this. We had a very terrible experience with the cash crunch, the introduction of the new note.
Naira note,
People were buying naira with naira at exorbitant rates.
Yeah.
I was a victim.
I think we all of course we all were victims of exploitative POS attendants who basically took the cash crunch at that moment and tried to people were paying close to 2,000 naira to 100 naira to 1,000 naira at some point. Some were even taking up to 200 naira to 1,000 naira at some point in time. But it's nice to see that things come and go. But to hear this again, I think we should brace for another wave of exploitation.
I hope not, because the Central Bank of Nigeria, according to this headline, has intervened. So we hope that we do not get to that point. But moving on from that story, minority leader PDP writes Akpabio over nominations. You get details on page 2. Electric vehicle, NNPCL plans filling stations, charging ports. Okay, that's a new one. Electric vehicle, NNPCL plans filling station, charging ports. The conversation around using gas.
Nigeria moving from fossil fuels for powering vehicles now to electric vehicles, or as they'll call it, environmentally compliant vehicle or renewable energy vehicles. In my own opinion, I feel it's a good move.
It's a good move, but the question is, are we ready for it? Can our roads
take it? And I think it's also the power infrastructure in the country can they actually live up to it? Now, obviously, this is not just another venture to empower certain people or certain individuals in power, as the case may be, just to make them get rich again, as I know as the case is seen with quite a number of these projects. But fingers crossed again.
Is this sustainable? I am very skeptical, but we'll leave it at that. We'll definitely get updates on that. You get more details on page 15. Still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, UTME top scorer's dad declares daughter innocent. Innocent demands proof. I saw a video circulating yesterday about the lady where she came out with a slip, two slips, saying that she printed it from JAM's official website, and that was her grade, how she didn't manipulate it, and investigation is still ongoing, and her dad has actually come out to also clarify the fact that his daughter is innocent. But
this story has been trending since it dropped yesterday. I mean, the biggest for me, and I think I had this conversation with Joseph yesterday, and the question really is, how exactly was this manipulation able to happen under the noses of the UTME without them noticing?
Well, according to what they said, she did it manually.
She did it manually.
According to the reports we got yesterday.
That even makes it a lot more worse, because guess what? She was celebrated by this particular board as being
the top scorer,
right? And I expect that for them to move from when they were manual, when it was written down, to digital platforms, where right now the entire process is computer based. You cannot write one question in JAM, with your pen or your paper or your pencil, or like when we did our time, HP pencil, right? Right now it's computer based, and for them to have certified, when you go your certificate in a university, for example, they will say being in full requirement of what is needed.
You've gone through that process.
process, and I expect that probably Jan will have done their due diligence in confirming there were no irregularities before announcing her as top scorer, and only to announce and come back like a few days later or a few weeks later and come and say that were a result of manipulation. I think it speaks a lot to the process of and of course a lot of work needs to be done with the board itself.
Right, but we'll do well to give you updates on that story as it unfolds. Very quickly on the front page of the Punch newspaper, single moms, Lagos businessman circulates more nude photos. This is something you want to read up details on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Do well to let us know your top story for the day, or you like to contribute to any other headline. Call us on 0700-1021-1021. I take that again, 0700-1021-1021. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018. Remember, we're streaming live on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM and on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM.
And taking more stories across the pages of Nigerian dailies this morning, I have the Guardian newspaper. Screaming headline reads, and I think everybody's been waiting for what exactly is the president's next step regarding the economy. On the Guardian headline reads, economy awaits Tinubu's fiscal direction as uncertainty trails forex liberalization. Right after that story, commercial banks stop treating PTA other invisible requests. Honestly, I feel a lot of Nigerians are waiting to see how well the current government would attack the issue of the economy. Inflation is at an all-time high. In fact, as of yesterday, news also dropped that banks are now relying more on the CBN for liquidation, as current borrowings from the standing liquidation fund from the CBN at banks has risen to 10.59 trillion naira, as opposed to what it was about 2 years ago at 4.9 trillion naira. And it's begging a lot of questions. What's going on? What's happening? And of course, news came out yesterday. We're having a cash crunch. Governors are having it, finding it hard to access.
And they're battling it.
Battling as well. And even states are now borrowing as much as yesterday, Abia State got a loan of about $115 million for road reconstruction. And hopefully, we just wait. What hopefully with the nomination of the cabinet submitted already, we hope that this result or this nominations will come with a strategy or a plan to help the economy.
We can only hope.
Above the headline or the main headline on the Guardian this morning, headline reads: APC crisis, governors NWC parley ahead of NEC meeting. This is on news page 4. Also on the Guardian this morning, police warn against use of orderlies as servant, and I think this needs to be addressed on a lot more, because there's literally no top ranking. I don't want to say politician now, but individual in society that that doesn't have a police escort or orderly, as they're properly called, around them. Now the question is, hope they're not being misused, and I think this is something that really needs to be looked into and needs to be probed by the police itself.
We know that the new IGP, person of Egbetokun,
yes,
came out to say that they were going to enforce the withdrawal of VIPs as escorts because during the Salah holidays there was a video trending about a particular man whose identity at the time was unknown, with some cows, and we saw these VIPs escorting the man and his cow, and the police stated that they were going to ensure that they carry out their investigation, because they've instructed that activities like that should be stopped. So we hope that work comes to play.
All right. Also, another headline on The Guardian this morning: no consensus on principal officers election as Senate resumes. Of course, quite a number of posts in the Senate needs to be filled up, and among them is the minority leader that has been causing a lot of back and forth. And hopefully, let's see how they're able to, and it's quite weird because a lot of times when it comes to these positions, especially with the Senate in Nigeria and the House of Assembly in Nigeria, we see that a lot of times, even before they come into office, these posts have already been agreed upon, and we just see the guys come in and literally just fit into the positions that they've already been by consensus candidates. But this time, God knows what is going on, why they can't reach a consensus. But let's monitor developments as regarding that and see what happens. Also on the Guardian this morning, PEPC admits EU report. CNPP backs observer mission as TMC knocks FG INEC. This one is on the page of the Guardian this morning, and of course the EU report that dropped regarding the elections that held in 2023, earlier this year, rather. And honestly speaking, a lot of people have been coming out to say this and that, and we saw the government's, response, the presidency response, to the report.
Well, yesterday we had this conversation with our guest on television. Yesterday, we're able to analyze it. And according to him, as a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, the EU report is not something that should just be swept under the carpet. At the same time, he stated that the EU report was not broad enough, that they had just about 50 observers and they were not able to actually visit majority of the polling units. The number of polling units that were visited, the ratio is not enough
to determine what happened on a nationwide scale.
So that's why they have come out to say, the presidency have said it was a jaundiced report, and the election was free, fair and credible as against what the EU published in their own report. But they've also said that they should not sweep it. The PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, came out to also say the EU observers report is valid. So we do not know if this can be used in court, because we know that the opposition parties are still in court. They still have petitions in court over this issue. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, definitely. Let's see what observes. You can call on the show to, of course, drop your reactions and let us know your positions on the stories we've read this morning at 0700-1021-1021. You can text us on WhatsApp. 0907-224-5018 is the number for you to reach us via WhatsApp. You can also go online. We're currently streaming live on our YouTube channel at High Impact 102.1 FM, and of course on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM.
Yes, from the Vanguard, from the Guardian rather, we'll take a look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. On the front page, insecurity will secure Nigeria, NSA assures, and they said they will work as a team and deliver as Tinubu charges security chiefs. Security chiefs won't fail Nigerians. That's coming from newly appointed NSA Ribadu. Notes crime rate already going down. Well.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. You get more details on page 5. Just above that, banks borrowing from Central Bank of Nigeria intensifies, rises 140% to 10.35 trillion naira. MBA to sue federal government over vehicles proof of ownership fee. We got this update last week, how they you're now to pay 1,000 naira, to get proof of ownership,
yes,
after you've done the necessary processes. And the MBA have come out to say they're actually going to sue the federal government. But would that hold? Let us see.
A lot needs to be said about that, because quite a number of times we wonder why certain policies are made, or certain taxes are put on the people, and the way people see this is another move by the government to draw them into another tax net that they might not be able to meet up with. Well, let's see if the people will prevail or the government will prevail in this case.
We shall see. Away from that story, negotiate with bandits. Ex-governor Yerima urges Tinubu. What has so far? Well, this is a conversation I'd like to have with our guest, because I remember that during the previous administration, there was especially when there was a number of attacks in Kaduna State, and the governor Nasir El-Rufai at a point came out to say he wasn't even going to negotiate or dialogue with bandits, because there were cases where they would have negotiations and the bandits would get what they are requesting for. But we'll still see that they are still attacking these communities, still kidnapping. And sometimes the people that they're even paying the ransom to get, they do not release them at the end of the day. So if negotiations haven't worked in time past, what will make the difference now?
That's a question for the expert and even the security advisor to answer. But at the same time, I feel we should... the concept of negotiating with terrorists sounds quite, all right to the ear, really, because these guys are sworn. If you look at it, they are committing a treasonous offense, against the nation as it stands, because they stand as a threat to the security of lives and property, and which of course is something that the government should ensure. And honestly speaking, like you said, if negotiation hasn't worked, then what will work? Like I said, service chiefs and security advisor have their work cut out for them.
Right. But away from that story, highest scorer Debacle Jamb and Mmesoma trade words over result. We took that headline on the Punch newspaper as well. Presidential Tribunal, INEC not ready to defend his case, says Labour Party lawyer. That's still on the front page. 53 years after civil war, Southeast needs new direction. That's coming from Igbo leaders of thought. Still on the Vanguard newspaper, 10th National Assembly, tension over principal officers as lawmakers resume today. You get details on page 27. Open defecation, Nigeria needs 3.9 million toilets annually. That's coming from UNICEF. I think we do. There's this mobile toilet thing. I think I don't even really see that mobile toilet really working as it used to.
The only time I see them is when I go to parties.
These days, I don't see. There was a time where you would actually see them at different stops around, but now it feels like it's not even operating again. And well, that is coming from the UNICEF. 9 rescued, 11 trapped as 4-story hotel building collapses in Abuja. Another building collapsed, and rescue operation was still going on. I saw the video late yesterday, and it wasn't a very beautiful sight to behold. Bread producers serve notice of imminent hike in price. Bread producers serve notice of imminent hike in price. We've not recovered from the first hike in price, so because the rate at which the price of bread just went up at a point in time.
That is honestly, at this point in time, I have to speak out because bread is probably one of my favorite food at the moment. And the fact that I can't buy 100 naira bread again is so alarming.
Is there even 100 naira bread?
There's 100 naira bread again. And 20 naira bread is not even up to. It's not going to get you anywhere. Honestly speaking, when you're hungry.
Maybe
so
you buy 500 naira bread.
Please do something for the flour, all right, in Nigeria. Let us have some bread back.
Let us have. You've heard ADT. Please let's have some bread back.
Because that's the only thing we make. We make our daily bread.
And lastly, on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, in the world of sport, Osimhen hints at Napoli stay. That's on sports page 30. Do well to let us know your top story. 0700-1021-1021. Send a WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018.
Still taking stories of Nigerian dailies this morning. The Daily Trust is the paper I'm with, and headline reads, screaming one at that, renewed rice smuggling threatens local production. 4 writers to the story. That's how serious the Daily Trust considers the story. Contraband floods Lagos, other cities. Women youths import through Benin, Niger republics. It's dangerous. Miller warns presidency mom on land border policy. Anchor borrower won't be scrapped. Agricultural fund are the 4 writers to the story on rice smuggling. In fact, there's a picture on the Daily Trust this morning showing heaps of bags of rice. Literally. So big question is the fact that we saw what happened, the policy on locking the borders, and intensifying rice production in Nigeria led to a hike in the price of the bag of rice. As now a bag of rice is going for the cap price. That is the long grain rice, goes for around 50,000 naira at this point in time. About 4 years ago, about 6 years ago, in fact, during the 2015 transition from the Jonathan administration to the Buhari-led administration, we had bag of rice going around for 15,400. At most, let's say you're buying the really luxury rice, you pay around 27,000, 30,000 for a bag of rice. But right now, if you don't have close to 50,000 naira, you're probably not getting a bag of rice at the moment. Hopefully, the economic strategies that the current government are coming up with would tackle these issues. Also, a headline on the Daily Trust this morning below the picture of the bags of rice on the Daily Trust is Tinubu to security chiefs, you must deliver. And
you must.
You must. I like the word must.
It's not negotiable.
It's not negotiable. You must deliver. Below that, why I'm still involved in Kano governance, Kwankwaso is the story, is the headline there. You can get that on page 19. Also on the Daily Trust, diphtheria breaks out in the FCT, kills 1. If you're wondering what diphtheria is, it's a serious infection of the nose and throat that that's easily preventable by a vaccine. All right. Also on the Daily Trust, ex-finance minister clarifies World Bank appointment without presidential approval. That story is on page 19. Also on the Daily Trust, Presidential Tribunal admits EU's election report against INEC. Tinubu. I think that answers the question we raised, or gives an answer to the question we raised, when we were talking on the pages of the Punch this morning about how will the tribunal actually admit this report. So hopefully, let's see what the report would amount to in the tribunal as well. I think that's all we have on the Daily Trust this morning regarding the headlines.
Right. So we're due for a break now. When we're back, we'll be having a conversation with our guest and we'll review some of the headlines. To stay tuned.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Everybody, get ready. High Impact Planet is coming with summer experience. Have you heard? The biggest amusement park in Nigeria is bringing the best fun experience for family and friends this summer. It's the summer experience at High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort. Yes, for as low as 10,750 naira for single package, 48,375 naira for a group of 5 guests, and 91,375 naira for a group of 10 guests. You get access to animatronics, mini playground, bumper cars, skating rink, and the haunted arena. And guess what? For every pre-booked group package, you get 1 extra ticket free. What are you waiting for? Call 0814-229-9509 or 0812-271-4373 or visit www.highimpactplanet.com. High Impact Planet is located at Kilometer 12, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, opposite Mountain Top University, Ibafo, Ogun State. Terms and conditions apply. High Impact Planet, the destination of choice.
Welcome to On Record.
Every word matters.
What I want to do is to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
My name is Mr. Innocent Chuboma. I started by trading on motorcycle spare parts.
They really ask, how much is the Nigerian life worth?
Policing is everybody's business, not the business of the men on uniform alone.
We will establish student loan 4 years course. Must be 4 years course.
When you dispense, a pharmacist dispenses a drug to a patient, the name of the drug must be written on the envelope.
On Record is a 45-minute program where we discuss the actions, inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview.
Join us 9 a.m. every weekday on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. On Record.
Every word matters.
Thank you for staying tuned. You're still listening to Newspaper Review on High Impact 102.1 FM. And right now we have our guest in person of Dr. Adedayo Kayode, who joins us via phone call to review the headlines. Good morning, Dr. Kayode. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. I'm here with Dami this morning.
Good morning, Dr. Kayode.
Dami, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Right, let's delve straight into
I'm
the
sure
debate.
all of these days are the opportunity to be with you in the studio again.
We look forward to that. Right, straight to the matter for today. One of the conversations we'll be having, let's talk about the EU observers and the report that they published. Yesterday there was a headline how the presidency faulted the report, saying it was jaundiced. And giving a statistics of the yardstick and some of the factors that were put into consideration for that report, analysts have said it is not sufficient enough, that the report cannot be expressly accepted. What is your reaction to that?
Yes, there are different faces to that particular report. Number one, some people have been saying that EU has no temerity
to be given a report as regards the elections that happened in Nigeria in 2023, February down to March. Have those people forgotten that Nigeria lives, or that Nigeria exists in a global village? And what happens to any subsystem within that global village will have a multiplier effect on others? That's one. Two, as Nigeria not being also contributing to elections in Africa and even all over the world. Three, have they forgotten that for our election to be credible, fair, and with a level playing ground, this same EU contributed immensely, both financially and morally, because there are a lot of education that EU sponsored towards ensuring that one, people go out there to vote. Officials of INEC were able to understand how to go about the process or the processes that have been outlaid by INEC. Going further, have they also forgotten that if a particular body is involved in a particular process in terms of observation, there must be a report as regards what they were able to find out? The report is not about to truncate our democracy, rather for us to learn and then move ahead from there towards entrenching a democratic tenant in Nigeria that will be acceptable.
Dr. Kayode, let me interrupt you for a bit. One of the concerns that the presidency is bringing up is the fact that the EU observers observed the elections through 11 Abuja-based analysts and 40 election observers spread across the FCT and the 36 states, and that that did not cover, and the election could not, the people could not cover the 176,000 polling units across Nigeria. So let us talk about the modalities or the things that brought all of this up. Looking at EU as an international body, don't you think that they should have made more preparation in order to be able to cover more polling units? Now, the one of the things that the government or the presidency is holding on it to is the fact that because of their limited coverage of the election, they relied on rumors, hearsay, prejudiced and uninformed social media commentaries and opposition, amongst others. Don't you think that if the EU had actually provided more observers to cover at least each polling unit, it might have been able to suffice better than it is now?
Now, I will give you an analogy. You know me, I have various analogies to address different situations.
You're right.
It personally, the way you talk, the way you are, and your position in your organization depicts you to have been educated along the line, either polytechnic or university. That means that you must have written a project. And when you are writing your project, there are variables you will consider towards arriving at your hypothesis. All right? Do you cover all the variables? You will have case study. I mean, you will have a case study, and that case study you will now extrapolate and you go ahead from there. Are you with me?
Yes.
So, if you're now telling me that EU should have covered the whole police unit in your federation, then that means the person saying that is not scientific. It's not scientific. And when you are talking about scientific analysis, you don't cover, there's no way you can evaluate or assess the whole variables. You will choose some. You will choose some that you know that yes, the result you get from here can be. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I will.
And that's exactly what EU has done. Inclusively, EU also worked with some other organizations that were accredited by ANEC as observers. For instance, I belong to an organization, they call it GPAN, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria. That particular organization worked with EU. They worked with EU because the organization was sponsored by both EU with INEC accreditation. So there are a lot of organizations like that EU worked with, and they all gave their reports. I'm aware of when GPAN submitted its own report to the EU observers officials, and I'm also aware of various meetings being held between GPAN and EU officials towards giving GPAN, not only GPAN, even NUJ, giving them what they are expecting, giving them instructions on how to go about the observatory process. So what are they talking about? Truly, did INEC followed its guidelines? I don't know whether you are aware of what happened at the presidential tribunal in Abuja yesterday. Were they able to come up with their how do I put it now? The people that they were supposed to question in the court, were they able to come up with it? Why? But that tribunal has given a timetable that they will follow. So it was not a spontaneous action. This is what they're supposed to have prepared for. But because they are witness, but because they know that there had been some kind of infringement along the line. So why are people now trying to not go along with the report of or try to mess up the report of EU? Is it only Nigeria that the EU had come to observe before? No. The issue is, let us look at the substance within that report and then query it. What EU is saying. Did those things really happen during the electionary process? Did they really happen? We Nigerians, we should learn to accept our mistakes, our misdeeds, our inactions, so as to prepare a better future for our nation.
All right, Dr. Kayode, let me come in at this point. He said something about Nigeria or Nigerians learning to accept mistakes and learning to accept their shortcomings. And the EU report published 6 recommendations, for Nigerians in getting elections right, probably next time. And one of them was removing ambiguities in the law, and the second was establishing a publicly accountable selection process for INEC members. I mean, and also the one other one that actually took caught my eye was also ensuring real-time publication and access to election results. And we all know that with the policies and the acts that were passed for the election, particularly the Electoral Act, that allowed for the independence of INEC, in conducting and of course also declaring results in the country, was a step in that direction. What markers or what other points do you think Nigeria needs to take, particularly to get a look. Because almost every election we've had in the last decade have been marred by, tribunals, and also cases dragging on for as long as years. And this one is also another one. So what other markers do you feel Nigeria needs to put in place and probably get right for to avoid issues like this in coming years or coming elections?
It's just one thing. Just one thing. Without mincing words, it's just one thing. Sincerity of purpose. When there is sincerity of purpose, every other thing will fall in place. See, our constitution have been saying it. It's not really, really bad. Because there is no perfection in creation. No perfection. Especially when human beings are involved. But when there is sincerity of purpose, you will see that our constitution will be interpreted the way it should be. You will see that our electoral laws and guidelines will be followed to letter accordingly. But when there is no sincerity of purpose, when somebody is coming on here to tell you, yes, these are going to be the processes, these are going to be the action plans, these are the things that we are going to put in place, but behind that person talking to you is something else, then we continue to have all these things we are having. Listen, as you are there, if you are discussing with your colleague that you are together on set, these are the ways we are going to conduct ourselves today. These are the ways we are going to address issues today. But behind you, you know that you are not going to follow it that way because you want to steal the show from him or her. When you get to the set and then you are doing something else, how do you think that person will feel? If you feel bad, it's not like a football match. A football match. There are rules and regulations guiding it. For instance, it has to be played for 90 minutes. 90 minutes. And because somebody sees that, okay, his own club, or his own club, or his own country that he is having clear for, is leading, and then the opposition is trying to catch up. Then at 87th minute, you now stop the match. That is all over. Don't you know that 3 minutes is a long way to go? And you wouldn't want such people to protest. And then you also want the supporters club, the viewers that are bought tickets, that are taking their own time to come to the stadium to watch that match. You want them to keep quiet? You wouldn't want them to write a report that it was remaining 3 minutes and everybody could see from the scoreboard that it was remaining 3 minutes. You want them to keep quiet? You want other people that are watching, even from the comfort of their houses or the television, you also want them not to talk about it? No, they will talk about it. And you now say, what concerns you? You are not in the stadium. You are sitting in the comfort of your living room watching the match. Yes, watching the match in the comfort of my living room. Did it not take some things out of me? Payment for NEPA. The time that I was supposed to use for something else that will profit me,
right,
I decided to dedicate it to watch that match. So what we are talking about is there must be sincerity of purpose. The moment we have sincerity of purpose in this nation, you will see the way our country will move forward.
Yeah, we hope that we get that sincerity of purpose, like you've rightly said. Our time is fast spent and we have to wrap up the conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Adedayo Kayode, and for sharing your thoughts with us.
It's my pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Right, there you have it, Dr. Adedayo Kayode giving his thoughts on this issue about the election tribunal. But we would have really loved to go on with the review this morning, but our time is fast spent and we have to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to follow us across our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM and news around the globe _ Till I see you next time, I am Sarah Uzanza. Have a fantastic Tuesday.
My name is Damilola Akinlade. Do have a good morning. Remember, the Morning Impact Show continues in a moment. Stay tuned.